I decided to try my hand at a Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke. If you don't know what a Nuzlocke is, it's a set of self-imposed rules to make these baby games for toddlers actually playable. There are lots of rules to a Pokemon Nuzlocke, but the main ones are that you have to catch the first Pokemon on each route, and when a Pokemon faints, it's gone forever. With these rules in play, you can technically lose a Pokemon game. An additional rule that I want to add is that I can't use more Pokemon than the gym leader I'm battling, so against Roxanne I have to use 3, while against Renona I get to use 5. Oh, and one more thing. I've never played Pokemon Emerald before. I wanted to play a challenge completely blind, so it's gonna be hard to plan ahead when I don't know what lies ahead. With all that said, let's sit back and watch the carnage ensue. We break out the back of our moving truck and meet our new neighbor May, before walking up to Route 101 to see Professor Birch getting mauled by a wild Zigzagoon. To help out, we rob him in broad daylight, and as a thank you for reluctantly saving his life, he just gives us the chicken we stole anyway. The run doesn't start until we get Pokeballs, so I take our new friend Dexter up to Route 103 to bully May into giving us some. Now that we have some Pokeballs, we can finally catch our early route encounters. Thankfully, Emerald is pretty generous with our encounters and gives us 3 right off the bat. So meet Bunga the Wurmple, Zora the Poochyena, and Kepper the Lotad. We have to skip the Petalburg gym because our fictional father doesn't have time for us, and on Route 104 we catch a very important Tailo named Binted. Now our last stop before Restboro is Petalburg Woods, where we catch a Shroomish called Happy, which is irony or something. I would tell you my full team for Roxanne, but is that really a point? We just taught Happy Bullet Seed, which means we are literally bringing a gun to a Pokemon battle. We beat Roxanne, step outside the gym, and immediately witness a crime in broad daylight. We chase after the Aqua Grunt because I've already made that joke this video. Just outside the cave, an old man tells us his pet Wingull was also taken, but the Grunt isn't really a match for Dexter, who just evolved into a Combusken right outside the cave. I return the goods to the Devon Corporation and make my way back to Route 104 to get a free boat ride to Dewford from the old man and his dog. Remember when I said Binted would be important? Well, this is when. You see, Tailo has the ability Guts, which lets Binted do double damage when inflicted with a status condition. So with the help from the fisherman up above, I can poison Binted and sweep Brawly pretty easily, getting me badge number 2. In the granite cave above Dewford, I catch a Makuhita called Moto and talk to Steven to get the TM for Steel Wing. We talk to Mr. Briny again, and he takes us all the way to Slateport City. At the museum, we see Team Aqua bullying this poor shipwright, so we help them out by brutally murdering their pets. On Route 110, May wants to battle with us, but unfortunately for her, Zora just evolved, and my team has a counterpick for every Pokemon she owns. Now that we've arrived at New Morville, we can get our hands on the 3rd gym badge, and given how I've solo swept all of the previous gyms, Watson should be a cakewalk. And to my surprise, Happy manages to take out his Voltorb, Electrike, and Magneton all by himself. I was so confident I could get my 3rd Deathless Gym badge, but unfortunately, something happened.
No! I got too greedy. Ah, that's a shame.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain myself. For some reason I thought Happy would outspeed despite Manectric's base speed being 35 higher, and it was using Quick Attack, and I was paralyzed. So I thought I could heal and live the next hit. This was just a plain misplay. Luckily, Happy isn't the only grass Pokemon I have, and Kepper is absolutely ready to step up and fill her role. But this was my first death in the run, and it stung. On Route 117, we catch a Marill that we call Jinbei. This is actually an encounter I'm not complaining about. Azumarill is a hard-hitting tank who can get a lot of mileage, and getting one just before Flannery is simply perfect. But we already have Kepper, so I'll keep it in the box just in case something bad were to happen. Which it won't. Next, we need to get the HM for Rock Smash, go back to Ruststuff Tunnel to get the HM for Strength, and get lost for 15 minutes, before finally making our way back to the Fiery Path, where our beloved Binted evolves. After getting lost yet again, I finally make my way to Mount Chimney, where I can face off against Maxie. However, something happened that I couldn't possibly have predicted. You see, the website I've been using to track this Nuzlocke for some reason doesn't even list this maxi fight, so I was unfortunately the most unprepared that I could have possibly been, allowing tragedy to strike.
No! I'll be deadly honest, I did not mean to use raw there. I meant to use howl. Ah. Okay, I think this kills anyway. This is fine. This kills. None of this is a good idea. Bunga just has higher HP, so go with Bunga. That didn't exactly happen. I outspeed this. It lives on 1 HP. Please do a low roll. Oh! It used a super potion, are you kidding me? Please crit, please crit, please crit. No! I can use Moto as a pivot? I think that's the only way out. Yeah, I have to pivot with Moto. Rip. Kappa. They go. Inner focus prevents flinching! Ah! I think I have to sacrifice.
Zora was with me since the beginning, and helped me deal with a lot of trainers and random encounters. Keppa had only just been added to my party, but just like Zora, he was there since the start. And Moto was a beloved HM slave who broke a few rocks sometimes. These brave warriors sacrificed themselves for the sake of the run, and they will not be forgotten. After defeating Maxi, we scale down the mountain, fail a spoink encounter, and make our way to Lava Ridge. I immediately dash over to the PC and use the lint in my pockets to create a new team. Flannery is a fire type trainer and we just lost our water type, so it makes the most sense to add Jinbei to our party. And I decided to use Dizzy the Spinder that we caught back on Route 113 as death fodder. And to be perfectly honest, that's all we really need. Flannery opens with Numal and I open with Binted. 2 wing attacks is enough to take it out, but the overheat Flannery gets in between is quite problematic. She sends in a Pokemon who, for some reason I don't know their name of, and expecting it to Oko with overheat, I decide to switch into Dizzy for a pivot. Lucky for this dumb panda, I'm stupid and forgot how terrible Flannery's Pokemon is, so it lives and I switch into Jinbei while Flannery uses Smog. Jinbei takes out this slug creature with her Fishman Karate, and lands a crit making it very dead. She switches into Camerupt, but no one is safe from Fishman Karate, and Jinbei lands yet another crit. Flannery's final Pokemon is Torkoal, who manages to take 2 Bubble Beams. It sets up a sunny day, and Flannery uses a Hyper Potion the next turn. Sun will make Jinbei's attacks do less, so I decide to pivot when I think it's about to kill me. But then the luckiest panda in the world survives yet another switch in, and gets paralyzed. I swap to Dexter to get a quick double kick in before finally using Dizzy as the death fodder it was caught to be, which gives me a clean switch into Jinbei, who lands a 3rd critical hit this battle, killing Torkoal. Outside of Flannery's gym, May gives me the Go Goggles, which lets me catch a Trapinch on Route 111. I named the Flygon to be Tony Chomper, and now we're on our way back to Petalburg Gym. I decided to use Dexter for his fighting type, Jinbei for his natural bulk, Binted because I don't really have any other options at this point, and finally Bunga, who I'll talk about in just a second, but first, Dexter needs to KO Norman's Spinder with a single double kick. I use Bulk Up to raise my attack and defense by 1, then KO Norman's Vigoroth with another double kick. Linoon uses Belly Drum, which halves its HP, so only one attack is needed to take it out. Now for the real threat of the battle, Slacking. If you're unaware, Slacking has the stats of a legendary, with the main trade-off being its ability Truant, which means it can only attack once every other turn. I land a single double kick which burns Slacking's Citrus Berry, and on its rest turn I switch into Bunga. What makes him so strong in this fight specifically is his access to Protect by level up. All I need to do is use Protect on his attacking turns and Psybeam on its resting turns. Slacking goes for Yawn, so I use Bunga's Last Moments Awake hitting Slacking with Psybeams, and switch into Jinbei as it's bulky enough to take at least one Facade. Luckily, the very last Psybeam confuses Slacking, and it hurts itself in confusion, giving me a free switch. I go for a Bubble Beam, but Norman uses his second Hyper Potion, and Facade puts Jinbei in the yellow. Thanks to my Oran Berry, Jinbei can stay in for an extra turn, but for some reason Norman goes for Yawn, so instead of getting off one more Bubble Beam, I can get off 3. Knowing I can take one more hit, I keep Jinbei in and switch to Binted on Slacking's resting turn. From there, 2 wing attacks is all it takes to earn us our 5th gym badge. On Route 118, I catch an Electrike called Sparnaby, who evolves just in time to stop Team Aqua at the Weather Institute. Just outside, May comes over and gives us a surprise battle, which...
Oh, I didn't heal!
Yeah, was kinda scary, but we somehow make it out with 0 casualties and crawl our way to the Fortree City Gym where we can face off against Winona. Sparnaby makes quick work of Winona's Swablu, but she immediately switches to her ace Altaria. Altaria is known for sweeping teams by setting up Dragon Dance and spamming Earthquake, so to say I was a little nervous is an understatement. But Sparnaby lands a critical hit Spark, which paralyzes and burns her Citrus Berry. I switch to Jinbei, which is kind of a misplay considering how Binted is immune to Earthquakes, but it's too late to change it now. I go for Roller, which is sort of risky because I can switch out, but it's foolish of me to doubt the Crit Queen Jinbei. Winona sends out her Tropius, who is Jinbei's only threat. Oh, never mind. Winona's Pelipper uses Protect, putting an end to the murder trail left behind Jinbei, and I switch back into Sparnaby, who uses Roar and just... Why do I even let my Pokemon learn these moves? The only time I've ever used Roar in battle, it's gone horribly wrong. After burning through Winona's Hyper Potion, a Spark finally kills Skarmory, and then there is pretty much nothing Pelipper can do to stop me. On Route 121, I run into Beauty Jessica, a completely optional battle, but one that went horribly wrong. Her Survivor used Poison Tail on Binted, but landed a critical hit. Luckily, Chomper evolved into Vibrava right before reaching Lily Cove, so I can get my hands on another flying Pokemon, but come on dude, how am I supposed to play around that? While I'm here, I catch a Shuppet called Sock and start to scale up Mount Pyre, where I catch a Duskull called Kaku, and the evil teams take their orbs. Backtracking a little to the grave of my friends, we go to the Team Magma hideout. Maxie gets surprised that the blue orb makes the red Pokemon go crazy and challenges us to a battle. Dexter takes out his Mightyena with 2 double kicks. I switch into Jinbei, who Oko's Camerupt with a Surf, and I let Sparnaby deal with Crobat. Next up is Team Aqua, who just have a Master Ball lying around, but still chose to deal with Kyogre the hard way. Anyway, he pisses off to the bottom of the ocean, and we go to Moss Deep City to fight Tate and Liza. This is the first gym in a while that I'm actually terrified of, so I'm gonna have to build a team specifically to deal with it. Backtracking a little to Petalburg, I catch a Corphish named Puns, continuing the trend of the most awful nicknames ever concocted, and I accidentally overleveled it. Okay, new plan. We're gonna catch literally every water type in the game. The team that I finally settle on consists of Nada the Pelipper, Sting the Tentacruel, Kaku the Dusclops, and Jinbei the Crit Queen, who has never failed us once. I open with Sting and Nada against Natu and Claydol and start Surf spamming. Xatu gets off a very scary Calm Mind, and Claydol uses Earthquake, which is exactly why I'm using Nada in the first place. A third Surf kills Claydol and lands a crit on Xatu, and a fourth from Nada cleans it up. Kaku and Nada double into Soul Rock, and thanks to Collateral on Lunatone, they're both into kill range. However, Tate and Liza have now set up a Sunny Day and Light Screen, and they still have 4 Hyper Potions. So not only do they effectively have 2 health bars here, but they also have a sun-boosted Solar Beam on the way, and my water special attacks aren't gonna be water special attacking. Soul Rock lands a crit on Nada, and Lunatone, in the same turn, puts Kaku to sleep, which is scary to say the least. My strategy from this point is just to spam Surf and pray that Kaku wakes up. Jinbei kills Lunatone, putting Soul Rock in basically what's a 1v1, but because Kaku is asleep, Soul Rock will just tunnel vision on her, which keeps Jinbei safe from a Solar Beam. The run honestly could have ended here if I didn't land a high roll on the Surf, but let's be honest, Jinbei always wins those, earning us our 7th gym badge. At the Space Center, I completely wipe Team Magma because, I mean, just look at these level gaps. At the top of the tower, Steven wants to team up and take out Maxi. I bring Dexter, Jinbei, and Sparnaby to the battle, but unfortunately, when I wasn't paying attention, Maxi's Crobat kills Jinbei with a quick attack. We avenge yet another one of Maxi's victims and replace Jinbei with punts. At this point, I was just really salty and tired.
Miss him. It's not the same.
So I decided to take a break for the day and hope that tomorrow I can have a fresh mindset and that I can finally take this challenge home once and for all. We obtain the final TM dive and make our way to the seafloor cavern to fight Archie, but it was over just like that. Just like the last time, the square doesn't fit in the circle holes, so we go to Sky Pillar and awaken Rayquaza with hopes it will quell the legendary's anger. We watch the best cutscene in Pokemon history, saving the world and granting us access to the 8th gym against Juan. I just want to take a moment to reflect over the whole journey so far, because let's be honest, I should not have made it out of most of these fights. And this really is the penultimate challenge in the run. After Juan, all there is for us to do is scale Victory Road, challenge the Elite Four, and finally, beat the champion. So let's start our final gym challenge with Sock, who deals with Loftus by spamming Nightshades. I switch to Bunga against Crawdon, who gets put in the red by a critical hit Silverwinged, and is killed by a second. I use Toxic on Whiscash, but it retaliates by using Earthquake, which kills Bunga. This gives us a free switch into Chomper, who spams Crunch while Whiscash gets killed by the poison. Against Kingdra, I use Punt, who has Knockoff to remove its Chesto Berry, resists Ice Beam, and has its own Ice move to cut Kingdra's HP in half. This leaves Punts at 1 HP, so I switch into Sparnaby, who takes Water Pulse. Now it's just a matter of spamming Spark, while Kingdra uses Rest to heal itself. I decide to risk a Thunder, which has a 30% chance to miss, but it pays off, killing Kingdra in 2 hits. All this poor man has left in his team is a Celio that Sparnaby easily deals with in just a few sparks. We did it. Only one more hurdle to overcome. Only a few more hardships until we're there to defeat the champion Wallace. Our dear friend Bunga unfortunately passed in this battle, but there is nothing that can stop us now. My determination will carry me to the end. It's at this point I realized there were a few encounters that I missed, so I went back and caught everything I didn't or couldn't before. Now you might be wondering where Wally is, and the simple answer to that question is he never really posed a threat, and now is no exception. My plan for the Elite Four is to pick a Pokemon that is especially suited for dealing with each type. I need a counter for Dark, Ghost, Ice, and Dragon, then whoever survives will be brought to the Wallace fight. My team will consist of Dexter the Blaziken, Tony Chomper the Flygon, Punts the Crawdaunt, Sock the Banette, Sparnaby the Manectric, and Vocalist the recently caught Exploud. We enter the league, stock up on some potions, and begin the final challenge of this playthrough, the Elite Four. Most of Sydney's team is swept by Dexter. I take the first turn using Bulk Up and kill Mighty Anna with a single double kick. Sydney switches into a Shift Tree, who gets taken out by Blaze Kick. Absol is next, who also dies to a double kick. But against Crawdon, I do miss the first attack, but they will always try to use Swords Dance first, so I'm safe to land another. Sydney's last Pokemon is Cacturn, but we already know how this story goes. Next up is Phoebe, who opens with a Dusclops against Sock. She blocks Sock's opening attack, but I retaliate with some Shadow Balls, which knock out both Dusclops and both Banette. She sends out her final Pokemon, Sableye, but due to some full restores, it takes a few extra hits to take her out. Glacier is the first actually hard Elite Four member, so I send in Sock against her Celio. 2 Shadow Balls kill Celio, but it does manage to set up Hail in the process. Glacier sends out her first Glalie, and Sock lives through a crunch, allowing me to burn it with Will-O-Wisp. I switch into Dexter, who uses Bulk Up to set up for a Blaze Kick. She sends in her Wall Rain, and I gamble a Sky Uppercut, which I hit every day of the week. I repeat Sky Uppercut against her second Celio, and a Blaze Kick kills her second Glalie. Only 1 to go. Drake's Shelgon uses 4 back-to-back protects, which lets me set up 3 bulk ups, miss a Sky Uppercut, and kill it with a second. Drake switches into Flygon, who will use Earthquake, so I switch into Chomper, who is immune. The Flygon stray Dragon Breaths, but mine paralyzes, but because I'm faster now, Chomper outspeeds and kills Flygon. I switch to Vocalist against Altaria, and I use Strength while it sets up Dragon Dances. It goes for a double edge, and I finish it off with a second Strength. Drake's Kingdra uses Dragon Dance, letting me land 2 Strengths. From here, I switch into Sock, who tanks a Surf and kills with a Shadow Ball. All that's left is Drake's Salamence. I switch into Punts, who lives both a Crunch and a Dragon Claw, then lands a Blizzard to kill it. After a Deathless Elite Four, all that stands in our way is Wallace, who opens with Whale Lord before dying to 2 Sparks, but not before setting up Rain. Thanks to that Rain though, Thunder is now fully accurate, so we OGO his Gyarados. Whiscash is part Ground, making him immune to Electric, so knowing he will go for an Earthquake, I switch into Chomper, and knowing he will go for a Surf, I switch into Punts. Whiscash uses Amnesia, and unfortunately I miss Blizzard. Earthquake puts Punts in the red, so I switch into Vocalist, who can take a Surf. Strength does some damage, but Surf puts him in the red. I use Rest, which doesn't put Vocalist to sleep thanks to his Chesto Berry. I start fishing for crits, but Wallace uses Full Restore, forcing me to make the decision to sack Vocalist and land 1 last Strength. Chomper's Earthquakes kill both Whiscash and Tentacruel, forcing Wallace to send in his Ace Milotic. I sack Chomper, switch to Sparnaby, and kill Milotic with just a few Sparks. And finally, Sock kills Ludicolo with 1 last Shadow Ball. Thanks everyone for watching. This video has been months in the making, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. A list of all the songs I used will be in the description if you're interested, and I think my favorite part of this game is it takes you down memory lane by showing you all of the Pokemon you used during your playthrough during the credits. If you want to see me do another type of challenge, then leave a comment, because I really have ran out of ideas already. There's only 1 more region in the Pokemon franchise that I've not played through yet, so I'm probably gonna make another video like this on the Unova region instead. So please subscribe to make sure you get notified when that video finally comes out.